What is up, A-Team? Welcome back. Awesome here. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. So we're here to talk about XRP. And the reason why is because on this channel, during my lives, one of the biggest questions I get is how much XRP should I own? Like, how much XRP should we buy? How much XRP should we own? And that's probably been one of the biggest questions I feel I get on the channel, on top of other things. But I mean, that seems to be a lot. Like, how much should we own? Like, where should we buy? All that kind of stuff. And you see a lot of these videos getting made out there in the social media realms of things with XRP is like, how much XRP should you own? And if you own a certain amount, like, what is it going to be worth? And those are all like kind of the questions that are getting asked here. And so I decided, you know what, it's time to actually make a video on this, because you're seeing, a lot of articles coming out here. You're seeing a lot of content creators making this kind of video. And I just kind of want to lay it out here because I think it is important that people understand like how much things are going to be worth if you hold a certain amount. And it says right here, experts explain how 1,000 XRP can be worth in 2025. And again, we're saying they're experts. I don't know. They're just social media creators. There's content creators here. But really what it comes down to here is that the current market of where we're at right now, it's been pretty flat, right? I mean, we got up to well into the $3 range for XRP. We came crashing back down to 176. There was a lot of opportunity to actually accumulate as much of this XRP as possible. As you guys know right now, with XRP pricing being the way it is, it's sitting around 241 at the time of this filming. If you were to actually put $1,000 in there, I mean, that's roughly $2,400 that you got to spend to own 1,000 XRP. And, again, I think it's important that you realize that if we actually 10x from where we're at, that's roughly about a $20,000 in terms of what you bought, right? So you put $2,400 in. If it were to 10x, which means it's going to get to, roughly $20, it would be sitting at roughly $20,000. So the question is that good enough for you? Some people, they would say yes. Some people would say that's not really that much, right? And I think that's kind of where the argument lands in this is 1,000 enough to actually be holding? Like, should you be holding more than 1,000 if you believe in this crypto? And although some are saying that 1,000 is actually not that bad and that we should actually continue to use it or continue to just hold 1,000, other people are saying more. And like it says right here, that a lot of people are confident that XRP reaches $10 by the end of 2025. So even if you think about that, that's roughly about a 5x from where you're at right now. So if you bought 1,000 worth of XRP at $2,400, you'd basically 5x that, and it would be roughly what? I don't know, what is that going to be, like $12,000 roughly, give or take. And the question is, are you satisfied with that? And if you are, then you're in the right spot. 1,000, buying 1,000 worth of XRP is perfect. It says, however, if you were to buy 1,000 coins right now, and say it were to hit $100, you'd be sitting on basically it says 100,000 worth. But again, this is all hypothetical. I'd have to hit $100 per XRP, and as you guys know, for it to hit $20 for XRP, you'd be sitting at roughly a $1.2 trillion market cap. So, I mean, you'd honestly almost be into like the $4 or $5 trillion market caps for it to hit $100 per coin. So the chances anytime soon is pretty small. So just realize that. I'm not saying that it can't hit $100. I want to make sure it's very clear here. I'm not saying that it can't hit $100. I'm just saying here in 2025, because that's what the scenario is here, would be, it's just not, I don't see that happening. It's just too much. I mean, we all know that it's 2 trillion for Bitcoin, so for XRP to jump that would be insane. So, and it says, this is where the goal of this is that 10,000 XRP should be the goal for most people. So a lot of people are out here saying that your goal should go from, as much as we should own 1,000, they're encouraging that people should own anywhere over the 10,000 marker. So again, they're suggesting, encouraging, whatever you want to say here. But really what it comes down to here is that this actually will up the ante. And anytime that XRP gets to a certain point, you're going to make a lot of money. So for instance, as of today, 10,000 XRP requires an investment of approximately $24,000. So that's actually a pretty good amount of money. That's a big, big investment. I mean, that's a car in all reality. And it says, well, 1,000 tokens would cost around $2,400. So as you can see, that you definitely up your amount in terms of where the growth will go. So if we're buying today, we buy 10,000 XRP at $24,000 because it's roughly about 200. It's about $2.41. If this were to go to the $20 mark, which would be a 10x, you'd be sitting on roughly $240,000. The question is that good enough for you? Some would say yes, some would say no. But this has been very consistent, though. So the 10,000 marker is kind of the consistency across the board for everyone in the XRP army, is that 10,000 seems to be the number. Because as you can see here, this is saying 10,000. And then you come over here and you're seeing a lot of other people saying that 10,000 is kind of where it should be as well. So, I mean, some people are all like, buy. I'm more of a, hey, just accumulate when you can. If you can accumulate, accumulate. If you can't, you can't. If you believe in the project and you do think it's going to hit certain levels, then accumulate where you need to accumulate. Some people are saying like, no, you need to actually hardline it. Like you need to own 10,000 or more of this to be a millionaire. And so that's kind of where this comes, is XRP to a million. And so some people are actually sharing this, and it says the fascinating question is, how much XRP do you need to be a millionaire? According to the math, if XRP manages to reach its old $3.40 peak, an XRP holder would need to hold roughly 294,178 XRP to hit a million. So if you want to know, that's kind of where you need to be. 249,178 XRP to hit a million. And it says as of today's price at 213. And again, this is a little bit older of an article. This is actually May 8th. So this is 2 days ago. And you can see how far XRP has jumped. We're at 240. It says that stash would cost roughly $626 and $626,470. So you'd have to own a pretty good amount of money, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to do this. It says Altcoin also crunched numbers for bigger price jumps. If XRP were to go to 10x to $21.30, which is what a lot of us have been talking about on this channel, it says you need to own roughly about 46,148 XRP required to hit $1 million mark. So that's kind of where you'd have to be at if it's were to 10x from where you're at. So again, buying that amount now would cost roughly $100,000. It'd actually be a little bit more than that based off where the numbers are at today. But that's really where you're at. And that's a hefty amount of money to be buying in on this, right? I mean, you have to buy basically $100,000 worth of XRP to actually get that $1 million mark. So that's a huge investment, especially if you're just jumping into XRP right now. And so some people, like I said, are bullish on a 20x scenario where XRP rises to 42,000 or $42. And again, they're not giving a date here. They're not saying like this is going to hit, by 2025. They're just saying that eventually in time, the price of XRP would hit $42.60. And I always go back to the one of my original things here is that if we want to actually look at pricing here on where this is going to go, this is a really good indicator as to what it's going to be. So if we actually say that we want the price to be, he says $42.60. So let's actually go over here and put $42.60 in here, which is a pretty big jump right here. It's going to be a multiplier right now at the current price of 17x. That would put it at a total circulating or a total market cap of roughly 2.4 trillion, fully diluted market cap of 2.4 trillion for market cap, fully diluted is 4.2. So, dude, you're talking, that's a massive amount. And if you look at where the current market cap price is, just in terms of the entire cryptocurrency space, it's sitting at roughly, we're at 3.3 trillion in terms of market cap right here, 3.3 trillion. And, XRP is sitting at roughly 141 billion. So it'd have to move massively for this to reach the numbers of which people are talking about here. So is this a pipe dream? To some, yes, it's a pipe dream. I'm never saying that it can never hit this because you just never know here in crypto. And when I always say, when in doubt, zoom out, like just look at Bitcoin here. When in doubt, zoom out. Bitcoin has always moved up in price. Every market out there has moved up in price from the bottom over here all the way to the top. A lot of these top tier cryptos are going to do the same. They're just like stocks, like that continually will move up over the years and further and reach new milestones. And so to say that this could never hit a $40 would be insane to say, because we know that there's value in these top tier cryptos. So this is kind of where it's at right now. So some people are saying that you need to hold roughly, you go back to this right here. Some are saying you need to hold 10,000 to be a goal for you, right? But just realize that a 10x will put you at 240. So, it's not going to make you a millionaire if it hits that 10x mark, but it definitely will be a really good investment at the end of the day here. I would much rather, be trying to work towards like the 24,000 marker here than the 2,400, because to some of us, we're here to make generational wealth. We're here to make, have a savings for our kids, maybe kids, which is what generational wealth is. And, that's the goal, right? Set some goals for you. They're not going to be easy goals. These are hard goals to reach to, especially when it comes to financial, when it comes to the finance side of things. You have to risk some to actually gain some. If you risk a little to gain a little, that's okay. But if you risk a lot to gain a lot, you're in a better situation. That's basically what these articles are saying here. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know how much XRP you hold. You don't have to tell me how much XRP you hold. Again, are you working towards these goals? I just want to know, are you over 10,000 XRP or are you under 10,000 XRP? That's all I want to know. So please leave any comments or questions down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And with all that said, we're out. Peace out, everyone.